Hey up, I'm the Yorkshire Time Lord, and time to go back in time as I review who I'd pick for I'm a Celebrity Gets Me Out of Here's All-Star Series. Okay, so for those who don't know, TV Zone recently released a major scoop, and that's that ITV are planning an all-star series of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. And I think this news is so exciting, because I've always wanted to see past contestants from I'm a Celebrity return, to see who would come out as the favourite king or queen of the jungle. I think it carries so much potential, and it's the fact that, according to TV Zone, ITV are planning some fresh new twists on the format as well, which really has me intrigued for what they could have in store. And of course, alongside the fresh new twists, there's also the fact that we'll get to see these contestants from I'm a Celebrity's past doing the bush tucker trials again as well, and living in a camp, and seeing how they adjust to life in a camp with these different faces from I'm a Celebrity's history, which is always a really, really fun aspect of the format, and what really sets it apart from other reality shows such as Big Brother. There's no other reality show that has that same kind of challenge aspect to it, and that whole kind of thing of survival, and how they survive in these harsh conditions, whilst being subjected to these really, really horrific games from Ant and Dec. I mean, Ant and Dec are effectively punishing the celebrities, and that just makes it so fun to watch. I like the fact as well that they're filming it at the South African I'm a Celebrity camp, because that makes it a bit different from when they were in it before. Before, they were doing it in the Australian camp. So, you know, what new challenges are going to come from this new environment in South Africa? What's this new location going to do to these celebrities, and how are they going to deal with a new location? And maybe there might be some differences in the environment of this new location that they have to adjust to. The only thing that, you know, kind of leaves me a little bit sceptical about the format is the fact that it's not going to be a public vote. It's all going to be pre-recorded. So the fates are going to be decided by the celebrities themselves, which I think could reveal some of the appeal of the I'm a Celebrity series. I mean, to me, part of the fun of I'm a Celebrity is voting for our favourites and seeing who the public like, as well as voting for who we want to punish in the trials. If you have the celebrities doing that, they're not going to go for the useless ones to do the trials, they're going to go for the ones that are going to bring back the food for the camp. And they might have different ideas as well for who they think should win the series to what we as a public think. And I don't think that's quite as enjoyable as us getting to decide who should emerge triumphant. That does leave me a little more kind of anxious about the format, and I do think it would be better, instead of pre-recording it, if they were filming it live next year, so that we got to vote for our favourites and we got to decide who's the ultimate king or queen of the jungle. I mean, it should still be a great series, and I'm still really excited to see it, but I do wonder how popular it's going to be with it being pre-recorded. But nevertheless, I still thought I would take a look at who I would pick if I was the casting producers for I'm a Celebrity, and who I think should go in based on each of the roles that the celebrities tend to fulfil within a camp. So without further ado, here are my picks for I'm a Celebrity's All-Star Series. So, for the Camp Clown, I think I would pick Vernon Kay. I've always been a fan of Vernon Kay because I think he's a really, really funny TV presenter. He comes up with some really witty, tongue-in-cheek remarks. And some of the comments he used to make on All-Star Family Fortunes really made me laugh. He's somebody that's really not afraid to make fun of these celebrities who he comes into contact with. And he builds a real kind of rapport with them. When you look at his series of I'm a Celebrity and his friendship with Jordan North, and also Shane Ritchie as well, they had such a fun sort of comedic back and forth between them, and I think he's just one of those celebrities that's really entertaining to watch, because he's just like a bit of a jolly northerner, and it's really infectious just to see someone who's clearly having a time of their life going through these really, really quite terrible bush tucker trials, the fact that he did that whole last trial in the final just for a cup of tea, that really speaks to me as a Yorkshire person. And I would love to see how he would interact with celebrities, other celebrities in the All-Star series. I think that could lead to some very funny moments. I think every I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here series usually has one celebrity who likes to act as a camp chef. And my pick for the camp chef would be Gino Dia Campo. I just think he was a really fun addition to his series of I'm a Celebrity. He's effectively like a naughty school kid with some of his rude remarks, and he blames it on the fact that he's Italian. He just says these words that obviously he's clearly swearing and making out he doesn't realise that he's swearing or coming out with really kind of obscene comments. But he just blames it on the fact that he doesn't know much English, and it's really funny to watch. And I think it's always entertaining seeing professional chefs dealing with some of the unusual ingredients they get on I'm a Celebrity as well. Such as on Gino's series, they had to cook crocodile legs. And, these professional chefs, their reaction to having to cook these strange kind of ingredients always makes me smile. It's not what you'd expect a professional chef to be doing. Another thing I've noticed from past series of Celebrity is that there's usually always one celebrity who acts like a bit of a father figure. And to me, my pick for the camp father would be Colin Baker. I think he was hugely underrated. And that's not just because I'm a Doctor Who fan, or obviously, that is partly to do with it, but I also think he was a really great campmate as well. He's somebody who's clearly very intelligent, and intelligent people are always very interesting to watch on TV because they give some very sort of unusual and interesting pieces of information that you wouldn't normally see from other celebrities on the box. And he also seemed to really take things in his stride as well. One of the most memorable quotes from this series was when he first came into the camp and he said, "I'm positively knackered." And those are two words that should never go together, positively and knackered. It's like a double... it just doesn't really make much sense when you think about it, because how can you be positively knackered? But it just made me laugh, because it doesn't make any sense. But I think one of the things I liked about Colin Baker was that he was a bit of a grandfatherly figure to the others in the camp. He seemed to really, care about those who were in there with him, and he offered a shoulder for them, for those that were struggling. And I think he was a bit unlucky, really, the way that he went out against Eric Bristow in that trial. It makes me wonder what could have been if he had won the trial instead, and Eric Bristow had been the one who'd been voted out. And it's that kind of potential that I'd like to see from the All-Star series. I'd like to see people from past series who didn't go out necessarily because they were the ones that were the least popular, but because either they had to go out due to personal reasons or because it was a new format where they had to compete in a trial against another celebrity. Because it's one of those things that you never know, isn't it? How they would have been if it stayed in. And that's always very intriguing. Yeah, of course, you can't have the camp father without the camp mother. There's been a few celebrity campmates throughout the years who have acted as a bit of a motherly figure within a camp. And I think the celebrity who I'd pick to act as a motherly figure would probably be Jenny Eclair. I thought she was really quite funny when she was in it before. You could tell she was a comedian. But alongside her sort of more light-hearted moments, she had these really caring sides to her as well. She seems to be very supportive of the others in a camp. And I think those are the kind of qualities that you need in a camp mother. Someone who's going to look out for the other campmates who are in there with them. And somebody who is, if they see that look a bit upset, they're going to go up to them and they're going to say, what's wrong and what do you need? What support do you need? She seemed like that kind of person in there to me. And I would like to see Jenny Eclair and Colin Baker together in a camp, because I kind of get the feeling that they would be two that would get on very well. I could imagine they would probably have some pretty interesting conversations with each other, because neither seem like particularly unintelligent people. I think they could have some very thoughtful conversations, and I would like to see their dynamic. This is a fun one because I'm not actually a fan of I'm a Celebrity's more villainous celebrities. But I can't deny they are a big part of the show's format. And there have been quite a few celebrities that have had a more kind of villainous role in proceedings. Obviously, you had Lady C, who was absolutely awful, the way that she refused to do trials out of spite towards the other campmates. And Helen Flanagan, who was so scared that she just screamed all the time. But I think if I was to go for the camp villain who most infuriated me as a viewer, it would probably be Julian Mckeefe, because she was responsible for some of the show's most memorable and iconic moments. It's just the way that she just kept pretending to faint, and she knew that the other campmates weren't buying it, and she must have guessed that us viewers at home weren't buying it either, but she just kept doing it to get out of the trials. And it was just really funny to watch. It's just quite devious, just because she didn't want creepy crawlies poured over her. But fair play to her, because the producers fell for it, and she did get out of a few of the trials. And I think this All-Star series would also be the perfect opportunity to punish her for her anti-vax views as well. Because her views on the COVID-19 vaccines are pretty shameful. The way she spouts all that nonsense about media control like other people and joining in the protests in London and stuff like that. It's pretty disgusting behaviour, and she deserves to be punished for that. So if you're watching I'm a Celebrity producers, make sure that she is really heavily punished for her anti-vax views, and get those creepy crawlies poured down her. And don't believe her fainting this time, because we absolutely must see her punished for saying all that nonsense about the COVID-19 vaccinations. So I think one of the things that I'm a Celebrity has always seemed to feature is a camp romance. And I know most people would probably go for Katie Price and Peter Andre there, but yeah, I can't stand Katie Price. She's bloody awful, and some of the things that she's done recently are pretty disgusting to say the least. So my pick for the camp romance would be Joe Swash and Stacey Solomon. And this is an interesting one, because their romance didn't actually happen on I'm a Celebrity, it happened behind the scenes. Joe Swash and Stacey Solomon were in two completely different series of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. But now, you tend to think of them as an item. And I think it would be really interesting to see them feature on the same series because of that very reason. I'm a Celebrity's never really had a married couple on the show before. They've had people that are married and that, both the partners have been celebrities, but they've either featured on different series or only one of the couple has featured on one series at a time. So this All-Star series would give them a really unique chance to show what a married couple would be like in the I'm a Celebrity camp. And I think Joe Swash and Stacey Solomon were two of the greatest I'm a Celebrity campmates as well. Joe Swash was just so funny with his sort of cheeky, chappy personality and some of the pranks that he played on the others in the camp. And Stacey Solomon had this really infectious, bubbly nature about her. I just love the way that she talks with that really, really kind of funny, high-pitched voice, and she has that really, really, really quite engaging way of talking where it kind of sounds almost like she's drunk in a sense. But I would really like to see those two together in an All-Star series and how they would interact as a married couple. And I'd also like to see them pull some pranks together on the other campmates, a bit like Stacey Solomon did with Dom Jolly in her series of I'm a Celebrity, when she was throwing rocks at you in the camp in order to win stuff for camp. I'd like to see them do a few things like that together. Bit of pranking Gino or whoever else might feature on this I'm a Celebrity All-Star series. I think that would lead to some really entertaining scenes, and I think the producers would be very wise to get Joe Swash and Stacey Solomon together on this All-Star series. I think one of the things that we as viewers always really like to see on television is an underdog. And I think if I was to pick the I'm a Celebrity underdog who should feature on this All-Star series, it would probably be Jordan North. I just think he went on a really, really great journey throughout his series of I'm a Celebrity. He started off as somebody who was scared of literally everything. I mean, before he even went in the I'm a Celebrity castle at that point, he literally threw up over a cliffside in Wales. And you think he went from that to reaching the final of I'm a Celebrity and doing that horrific trial in the final episode of that series of I'm a Celebrity. And he really went on quite a journey, facing his fears of snakes and spiders, and then coming out as this altogether more brave individual. I think he'd be a really fascinating person to see return, because it would give a chance to see how he's developed since his series of I'm a Celebrity, and how he's got a bit braver and he's taken on other challenges since I'm a Celebrity, such as the amazing rowing that he did for Comically, absolutely incredible by the way. And if you haven't seen it, you should watch that on BBC iPlayer, because he did such a great job with that. And I think it would just be really fun to see him back with Vernon Kay as well, who he built up quite a friendship with during his series of I'm a Celeb. And those two were a lot of fun to watch together. And also, it'd be great to see him alongside other members of the I'm a Celebrity cast from previous series as well. Yeah, I'd like to see how people like Stacy Solomon and also Joe Swash and Gino Dia Campo would interact with Jordan North, and whether they would get on with him or whether they would take a disliking to him for whatever reason. I think that's one of the most interesting aspects of this upcoming series, is seeing how these celebrities who weren't previously featured together in their other series, how they interact when they're brought together from other series, and how they get on with each other. Because that's something we didn't see when they were in the Celebrity series, in our Celebrity series before. And I think that's something interesting to explore. Now, I think the campmates that tend to most impress me with I'm a Celebrity are the ones who are a bit of an all-rounder. And I think the celebrity that I would most consider an all-rounder from I'm a Celebrity's history would probably be Ashley Roberts. I just think she was a really engaging, happy, excitable personality, and I'd really love to see more of that in an all-star I'm a Celebrity series. She really was somebody who was good at everything. She was great at the bush tucker trials, she was great with other people, she really seemed to help with the chores around the camp as well, and she seemed to offer a bit of a shoulder to cry on for the other campmates too. I think she was robbed of her win, and I was surprised that Ashley Roberts didn't win that year. I really thought she'd have won. I don't know how it was Charlie Brooks that ended up coming out triumphant. So this one is a little bit of a cheat, because they don't really go in as a camp leader. The celebrities tend to be voted as a camp leader by either the public or the celebrities themselves. But I think it still counts as a role within a camp, because it is something that they have to fulfil at some point during the series. And I think if I was going to pick anybody who I think really stood out as a camp leader, it would be Noah Edmonds. I think he just went out way too soon in his series of I'm a Celebrity. He was just such a strong and defiant leader of a camp. And he was so funny of it as well, he really sent himself up with that whole kind of Emperor No thing he had going on, and I would really like to see more of him. He's one of those celebrities that's really not afraid to make fun of themselves, which is always such a joy to watch. And he also holds some very controversial views as well, which we didn't really get to see when he was in I'm a Celebrity before. And I think it's something they could absolutely explore with an all-star series. It could generate some really interesting campsite discussions where he talks about things like cancer and how he believes his parents are following him around as orbs, and various sort of, should we say, quirky views like that. But I think there's so much potential for Noah Edmonds to come back in an all-star series, and I really hope that the producers bring Noah Edmonds back and show the potential that he had to be a truly legendary I'm a Celebrity campmate, because viewers really did him dirty by not voting for him and having him go out so early on in that run of I'm a Celebrity. I think one of the greatest elements of the I'm a Celebrity format is how they always have two celebrities who go in late as late entrants, and I think it's just such a great aspect of the series because it really helps to divide the camp and add some extra tension. By that point, the camp have all got used to each other and they all know each other quite well. And you throw two new people into the mix, and suddenly the whole dynamic changes. And I think for the late entrants, you need two celebrities who have the potential to really set the cat among the pigeons. And for me, the two from I'm Celebrity's history who could do that would be Janice Stickinson and Richard Madeley. Now, I'll start with Jenny Stickinson first, and I thought she was brilliant when she was on I'm a Celebrity before, because she was really quite feisty and quite opinionated. I loved the way how she had that sort of catchphrase of oh man, and how she wasn't afraid to sort of have a go at some of the other campmates. And yet she still came second in a series, even though she was pretty argumentative, to say the least. And I think if you brought her into the All-Star series and you had somebody like Gino Mckeefe in there too, she'd be someone who really wouldn't be afraid to tell Gino Mckeefe if she wasn't pulling her weight. She's really someone who doesn't stand much nonsense. And I think the same is true for Richard Madeley too. Now, whilst when he was on I'm a Celebrity, and he wasn't on it for long, we saw a more sort of fatherly side to Richard Madeley, which would be great to see in an All-Star series as well. I think, for judging by other shows that Richard Madeley has been on, he also has the potential to have this more sort of no-nonsense side to him too. And I think it would be fun to see him sort of having a go at Gina McKeefe for not pulling her weight and for not doing the trials within the I'm a Celebrity series. I think that's a side to Richard Madeley that it's a shame we didn't get to see when he was on it before. And he also has the very same thing as Noah Edmonds as well, where he has some very controversial views, which could also ruffle a few feathers in the camp as well. When you look at some of the things he says on Good Morning Britain, and some of the sort of Alan Partridge-like comments he makes on Good Morning Britain, if you brought that into the camp and you had him coming out with some really kind of stupid remarks, I think that could really create a divide within a camp, and it could lead to some really, really funny Partridge-esque moments, which we never really got to see when he was in I'm a Celebrity before. The thing is with Richard Madeley is that because of his illness, he left way too soon. And there has been a few like that from I'm a Celebrity who I'd like to see return as well, such as Craig Charles. And I think he would be great for his All-Star series too. And he's another one that I would potentially pick for the Camp Clown I mentioned earlier. But I think with Richard Madeley, it's just the fact that he has everything. He's got the personality and he's quite likeable at times. But he also has that Jekyll and Hyde thing going on, where he can also be a bit Alan Partridge too, which is quite intriguing to watch, quite entertaining to watch. And I think there's just so much more left to explore there, which you didn't really get to see during his series of I'm a Celebrity. And of course, there's also the fact that he is also somebody from I'm a Celebrity as well who did the castle. So he's not had the proper, authentic I'm a Celebrity experience. And whilst this isn't exactly the same I'm a Celebrity experience, because it's going to be in South Africa rather than Australia, it still will be pretty close to the Australian jungle, because it's still got that same kind of setting to the Australian jungle, which they use for the Australian version of I'm a Celebrity. And I think that chance to see him in a setting that's a bit more similar to the traditional jungle setting from past series of I'm a Celebrity, I think that opportunity to see him in that more traditional setting could sort of challenge him a bit more, and also challenge some of the others that came from the castle setting a bit more as well, such as Vernon Kay and Jordan North. It's something new that we really didn't get to see before, and I, for one, would really, really like to see those celebrities in that more authentic I'm a Celebrity setting. Okay, so that's who I would pick for the I'm a Celebrity All-Star Series. Who would you pick for the upcoming All-Star Series of I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here? Let me know in the comment section below, and if you like what you see, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.